Hello, my name's Simon Zutshi. In this video, I want to share with you how I became a millionaire. Now, a lot of people want to become a millionaire. What exactly is a millionaire? Well, a millionaire is someone who has £1 million of assets. It could be cash in the bank, not a great place to leave it, by the way. It could be equity in property. It could be in a share, stock holding. It could be in cryptocurrency, but it's assets of £1 million that could be liquidated and you could use that if you wanted to. Now, I chose property as my vehicle for wealth creation for the simple reason, when I bought my very first house in 1995, I wanted somewhere to live and I rented out the rooms to my friends who were still living at university, and the rent they paid pretty much covered the costs. Now, I just started work at Cadbury's, and to be honest, I expected that's what I was going to do. I was going to work my way up the corporate ladder. I'd been to university for 4 years to get a combined honours degree in manufacturing and business. I had a year off when I didn't have a good job just because I was trying to apply for a really good graduate job, and finally I secured that in 1995. I started my dream job at Cadbury's. Now, Cadbury's was a great company to work for. I really liked the people there, I liked the company and the culture, and of course I loved the product. But I soon worked out that that wasn't going to make me rich. Working for someone else, even though at the top of the tree, the directors get very good salaries, they get share schemes, etc., it wasn't going to make me truly wealthy. And the reason I left Cadbury's in 2001 was because I actually like my time. I like my freedom to choose what I want to do. And by then, I'd bought my first house in 95, I bought my second house in early 98, and I'd rented my first one out to students, moved into my second house a bit closer to Cadbury's, and I had this real breakthrough. And I realized that at the time, in 1998, at Cadbury's, I was earning about £1,500 a month, and I was spending 40 hours a week at work, at 200 plus a month, and getting paid £1,500. Whilst this one property I had that I was renting out in 1998, it was making about £500 profit. So my job was giving me 3 times as much money as the one property. But the one property took maybe 2 hours of my time every single month. So let's think about this for a minute. Spending 200 hours a month in my job to earn £1,500, or 2 hours to earn £500, which would you prefer? In fact, put it in the comment box. Would you prefer property or would you prefer a job? Think about it. Now, there's nothing wrong with jobs. I'm not trying to knock jobs at all. Jobs are great, and in fact, having a job allowed me to get some money to actually first start investing. It was much easier to get mortgages, having an income. So I'm not saying give up your job. I'm not knocking that at all. You might absolutely love what you do. But in 2001, I got to the point where I had enough income coming in, not to completely cover my income, but enough to cover all of my costs. So enough profit from my property to cover my costs, and I made the decision, the maybe foolish, maybe brave, who knows, decision in 2001 to leave my full-time job. This was the job I dreamed about. Again, this was my corporate career that I wanted. I'd become a senior management, so I loved the company, the people and the product, but I just wanted my time freedom more. And it took me 2 years up until 2003. By then, I completely replaced my income. Was I a millionaire by then? No, I probably wasn't, because I had some asset, the value of my property has gone up. I didn't have £1 million of equity. And then in 2003, I realized that although I'd done quite well, I'd also made lots of mistakes. And I thought, wouldn't it be smart to learn from other people's mistakes rather than making them myself? So what I decided to do was see if I could find a group of people like me who were investing in property I could learn from. You see, none of my friends were investing. I was doing it on my own. None of my family invested apart from their own homes. I really kind of felt quite lonely. And I went online to see if there was some sort of networking group, and there was nothing at all. So back in 2003, I set up the very first property investing meeting in the UK, and I called it Property Investors Network. And you might have been to a PIN meeting. There were 50 PIN meetings around the country. They're £20 to go along to. They're in the evening, and you get a chance to meet other people like you who are investing in your area, be inspired by what they've done, learn from them, connect, build your network, meet people who can help you, and it's an incredibly powerful thing to do. And by the way, don't just check out PIN meetings. There were some other great networking meetings as well. Really important to build your network, because your network is your net worth. So anyway, I started buying some more, and people said to me, Simon, how come you don't have to work. And so I said, well, I do work. I do my property. So no, you don't go to work. So people said, can you teach us what you've done? And in 2003, I started teaching other people to do what I had done, but much quicker than I had done it. Now you have a real benefit. You have the benefit of watching something like YouTube and listening to podcasts. I didn't have that when I started. In fact, the internet wasn't even around when I started. In fact, I didn't even have a mobile phone when I bought my first property. I had to go back into my house, pick up the landline to call the agent on their landline to arrange a viewing at the first house I wanted to buy. So things have come on a lot. So you are in a great golden age. There's lots of information. The only problem is there's almost too much information and sometimes people get overwhelmed. And so that's why I started training people, because when you come on a training course, you get a whole load of information organized in an easy to consume format rather than watching all this stuff free online and trying to piece it together yourself. So that's why people invest in training, despite the fact some people say, oh, well, you can get it all for free online. Well, we put a lot of great information out online. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching our YouTube channel. By the way, if you do like this, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to make sure you get these videos all the time. But really, you know what? Doing it on your own is the hard way, and you don't have to do that anymore. So I've got my property, I've got my business, and you know, businesses take a while to get going. For a couple of years, I didn't really make any money, but now, because we've had so many successful students come through our property training, lots of people come to us, they want to learn, they want to save themselves time, money, and effort. That's why they invest in themselves. And investing in yourself is the very best decision. And I'm a great believer, if you have a business, if you give value to people, if you give value to enough people, you will get value back yourself. So I have a very profitable business that gives me a good income. I've actually sold one of my businesses for lots of money as well, so that's also made me fairly well off. But the point is, I put a lot of effort into that business. I put a lot of effort into my job. The thing I love about property is you need to put in time and effort, but you can work once and get paid for it. I want you to write that down and think about that. Work once, get paid for it. Remember, that job I had at Cadbury's, I had to go there, had to turn up every day, 5 days a week for 48 weeks of the year, 200 plus hours a month in order to get paid that money. Whereas my property, I'd put some time and effort in to find it at once in the first place and to get tenants in, but then 2 hours a month. So this is how you can become free. You can start acquiring properties to replace your income. And over time, in the UK, on average, property prices double in value. That's because we don't have enough accommodation. The government think we need 300,000 new homes each year. We're only making 200,000. So there is a shortage of accommodation in the UK. That's why long-term property prices go up. And with the high inflation, we're going to see prices go up even more. So actually inflation is good for us as property investors because it erodes the value of the debt we have and the values of our assets go up. So we think differently to other non-property people. But can you become a millionaire in property? Yes, you can. And it starts with your first property. Now, a lot of people think the way you make money in property is by buying a property, doing it up and selling it on. And absolutely, you can do that. You can make some really good money in the right market condition. You can make tens of thousands of pounds profit by selling a property on. And I've done that myself. However, I think that was a mistake. And the thing is, what we do, all the decisions we make are based on the knowledge that we have at that time. And over the last 26 plus years I've been investing, I bought some houses, I've done them up and I've sold them. And it made good profit at the time. But actually, if I'd held that property, instead of making £20,000 profit on a deal, if I'd held that property, because prices go up over time, I might have made hundreds of thousands of pounds profit from that very same product. Instead of getting the 20 grand at the time I sold it, I could have held it, had the long-term growth, made hundreds of thousands of pounds, plus got the rental income in the meantime. So if you want to become a property millionaire and get £1 million worth of equity, it starts with finding great property deals. Ideally, if you can buy below market value and then add value through refurbishment and then refinance. There's a strategy called BRRRR, buy, refurbish, refinance, rent, and then rinse and repeat. So you go and do it again. You take your money out, you go and find another one. If you can do that, you can quickly build up your portfolio. Many people on my property mastermind program, they do this, they use momentum investing, the BRRR strategy, and they don't just have one property, they have a number of properties going at the same time. So here's a big tip for you. If you want to quickly build up your property portfolio, you want to have a pipeline of deals. This is deals at different stages. So there might be some you're just starting to speak to the owner, you're negotiating with them, some you've made offers on, some have been accepted, some you've got the property, you're doing the refurb, some you're tenanting. So you have a number of different projects at different stages. So you've got this pipeline of deals. So in case a deal falls over, doesn't matter, you've got more you can pick up with. And it's by acquiring these properties, starting to build these assets. Now, for most people, it's not about the long-term growth, it's about cash flow. They want to get cash flow right now. Or one of my personal favorite strategies is houses of multiple occupation. That's where you rent out individual rooms to different people, and often the bills are included for the tenants, nice and easy for them. And it's more cost effective for the tenant to live in a room in a shared house than it is for them to live on their own in a studio or an apartment, where as well as paying the rent, they'd pay all the bills, okay? So it's really easy for them because you get all this rent from all these people, you still have to pay the bills, but after paying the bills, the mortgage, you make a lot more profit than you would with a single let property. Is it more work with an HMO? Well, it is if you manage it yourself, but again, you can give it to someone else to manage for you. Remember, time is your most valuable asset. I don't want to be a full-time landlord. I want to be a property investor who is making money from my investments. So by acquiring these properties, and if you're getting an HMO or serviced accommodation that's giving you maybe £1,000 profit a month, you probably don't need that many properties to completely replace your income. So you don't need many properties, and once you've got those, you've got your income replaced, you start doing what you want, and over time, you will become a property millionaire just like I have. But you've got to be patient. You know, it takes a bit of time and effort, takes a bit of time. You can certainly speed up the process by buying well, below market value and adding value, refinancing. Or you can do the slow, traditional way, which many investors wait, and which I did initially. You buy a house, you put the money in, you wait a few years. Once the value's gone up, you remortgage, take the money out, go and buy another one. That absolutely works, but it takes a while. You could choose how quick you do this. It's entirely up to you. Does it take time? Does it take effort? Yes, it does. And unfortunately, many people are looking for the get-rich-quick scheme. Well, let me be really clear. There is no such thing. Get-rich-quick suggests you make lots of money for no effort. Doesn't happen. You can make lots of money in property, but I'll be really clear. You've got to put in some time. You've got to put in some effort. Anything worth having is worth putting in time to get. And success is not free. You've got to pay for success. And the rent you pay is by doing the work up front, then get paid forever. That's why I love property. Work once, get paid forever, and you too can become a property millionaire. How do you do that? Well, I've got lots of videos on this YouTube channel you can watch. I highly recommend you subscribe, click the bell icon to make sure you're notified of when these videos come out. Like it, put a comment down below. I'll come and answer some of those if I can. Give as much help as we can on the journey. So lots of free training here. We've got the Property Magic podcast you might want to listen to as well, which comes out every single Tuesday, completely free. But if you really want to be serious, why don't you think about investing in yourself? Come and do one of our training programs. We've got home study programs, we've got live physical events, we've got virtual events. The best thing to do is probably book a call with one of my team, and they'll understand where you're up to, what you want to achieve, and they can recommend the most appropriate training for you. If you want to save yourself a huge amount of time, money, and effort, why not learn how to do this from people who've been doing this? And there's no one in the UK who's been teaching people as long as I have. There's no one in the UK who's made as many millionaires as I have. So why not come and check it out for yourself? And all our courses have a money-back guarantee, our home study courses and our 2-day, 3-day courses. You can come and do them. And if you don't think it's amazing, or you can say, look, this is great training, just not for me, not a problem, you can get your money back. And we have that money-back guarantee because we want to take away the risk from you. But you've got to make decisions. You've got to be responsible for your success. So look in the description below here. Come and book a call with all of my team. Find out how we can help you. Come along to our local PIN meetings and enjoy all the free content I put on this channel. Until next video, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill. I look forward to hearing about you becoming a property millionaire. I do hope you got massive value from watching this YouTube video. I'd encourage you to click on the link below to come and do the online training with me. And I've got another video lined up for you, which I think is also going to be really useful that you should watch once you've registered for the online training with me. So invest with knowledge, invest with skill. I'll see you very soon.